shining like a beacon of bright stars.
On Sharon? What? Oh, shit! There it is. Double HP. Yo guys, what is up? Max in our first Descendant video, and today we're going to be talking about the A-TAMS. Now, this is one of the new weapons that was added in the most recent season update, and it is one of the strongest, if not the strongest weapon that we have seen in TFD, possibly ever. It is an incredibly powerful weapon. I was actually reading the little lore history tidbit about this sniper rifle, and it is supposed to be a mimic of Haley's fourth sniper, but something that everyone can use. And Haley's fourth sniper at the time was the strongest thing in the game when it came out. And then now we have basically a portable version of it for every character. I'll be breaking down everything that you need to know about this weapon and our build guides for it. Hope you enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. So let's start with the basics. The unique ability is called Electronic Arcade Infusion, and this allows the weapon to basically funnel the power of your Descendant into the gun to give it a massive damage multiplier. And additional copies of this will increase the charge rate. So if you're at 4 out of 4, you will increase, you'll get to max charge faster. I believe it's about 2 seconds at 4 out of 4. And if you don't have this thing ranked up at all, it'll do the exact same amount of damage. It'll just charge slower. So getting additional copies is really nice quality of life, but note that it's not actually going to increase any of your damage. Looking at the base stats of the A-TAMS, it's got 50% crit rate with a 1.5x crit damage multiplier, meaning that we're going to be able to get it to crit pretty often. Bosses do have crit resistance. We can make that a little bit more difficult, but it's really nice to build crit on this. It's also got a solid weak point multiplier of 1.65 at base, which is also relatively nice, not the craziest thing. And it's only got a multi-hit damage of 0.1x, meaning that this thing is not going to work all that great with multi-hit. I wouldn't recommend building it for multi-hit. We're going to be building it around crit and weak point. For the actual build, I usually hover over mods one by one, and I know it's hard to screenshot, so I'm going to keep my hands off of the mouse for a bit. But standard mods, we got action and reaction and rifle reinforcement for a bunch of extra gun damage. We're going to be using better concentration and better insight for the crit rate and crit damage. And we've got weak point sight for the additional weak point damage. Now, the other things are a little bit more confusing and kind of up to you. So to start, let's talk about why we built this thing for Toxic. I built this thing for Toxic because, one, Tormentor is currently weak to Toxic, and this gun does enough damage, basically, that it one-shots everything else, even if it's not matching elements. And so I wanted to build it to match elements for the toughest thing that it can take on, which is currently Tormentor. With this setup, we one-shot Tormentor with double HP. We had another player in our game which gave us the boss scaling health of about double. It brought it to a total of 185 million HP, including its shield. And so we were using this to make sure that we could one-shot it. And so we're fully building into Toxic with Toxic Enhancement. And then Toxic Gun Barrel gives us a ton of Toxic attack, but less fire rate. We don't really care about fire rate because our whole goal is to shoot once. We were messing around with Edging Shot versus Inside Focus. For the one-shots we've been doing, we're using Inside Focus. This gives us a bit of crit rate and a bit more crit damage. Edging Shot will lead you to more consistent crits, but a little bit less damage. That's kind of a bit of personal preference. And then we're using Charge Amplification for the massive increase to the firearm attack. One thing to note about crit damage mods on, for example, high power weapons is they provide different amounts of values and worthfulness across different weapons. So for example, if we look at concentration priority on something like a sniper rifle, it's only a 33% damage increase, versus if we look at it on something like the Last Dagger, concentration priority is 120%. And so different values, different things. Concentration priority is absolutely fantastic on weapons such as general rounds, but a little bit iffy on things like high power rounds. So we're going to be rocking charge amplification. For the cores and reinforcements, we originally had firearm crit damage and weak point damage, and we were one-shotting everything with that. Then we swapped to firearm crit damage, and we're one-shotting everything with that. And then for the double HP version of Tormentor, we did need to swap to Toxic Attack. We just didn't quite have enough damage with just crit damage, and so for that like specific one shot, we did change the second crit damage roll to Toxic Attack. That's probably what I'm going to leave it at. I kind of like having this thing just be absolutely massive at certain elements. And even on non-matching elements, like when we took this thing against Gluttony, even on non-matching elements, even not on Serena, it still one-taps Gluttony, which is just disgusting. This weapon is crazy strong. And then for the like actual parts of the weapon, we went for weak point damage, firearm attack, bonus firearm attack versus Colossus, and crit damage. Note that we did not go for Toxic Attack on this. I think these mods actually slightly beat it out. If you were to swap anything for Toxic Attack, it'd probably be the firearm attack percentage. But I think these are the best four that you could roll. If you did want to build this thing for other elements, you just simply swap out the Toxic Enhancement for a different element and the Toxic Gun Barrel for like Fire Gun Barrel or whatever you need. I think it'll be pretty easy to swap this thing around based on the like needs of it. But like right now, because the most worth kill boss is Toxic, weak, that's what we build it for. For the Serena build, I just changed like a few things around, basically just trying to squeeze out as much damage as possible. And those changes were we added Walk a Tightrope, which is 30% firearm attack when we're at low HP. And then we use Conditional Recharge, which whenever we use a skill, we like delete some of our HP. And this is great because we can get into the range of Walk a Tightrope by using her abilities. One thing to note is the fourth ability does scale off of max HP, so we're not like getting less damage on the 4 on being lower health. But this is just a little strategy to squeak out a little bit extra damage. On normal, like one player one-shots, you wouldn't need this. But if you do want to squeak out a little bit more damage, this is definitely something you can look into. Lastly, this was our skill tree for arcade tuning for the one-shots. Mainly we're going to be grabbing as much HP and shield as we can get. Shield is being converted into HP, so that can give us a little bit more HP. We path to pick up this extra HP, path to pick up this extra HP, and then we go up to grab the firearm crit damage and also the advantage affinity damage modifier. This was the tuning for specifically just one-shots. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Just a crazy, crazy weapon that they've added to TFD. I'm going to have a like longer video, most likely, on my like current thoughts and feedback on Season 2. So expect that shortly. But yeah, I'll catch you all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.